shows an alleged mass murderer on the loose in Tennessee before killing 6 people.
Oh, another video about a tragedy you're just trying to catch. Shut the fuck up. This one hits home for me a little because I grew up going to a couple private Christian schools, including one that was pre-K to 8th grade. Yeah, you're right. These things seem to be happening on a regular basis. And no matter what your political stance is, we agree there's something wrong with that. Because stuff like this seems to happen, it's like clockwork that we have the gun control debates that have to flare back up, or we gotta have the police reform debates, or the mental health debates, or even any other political debates that have to get over there, because you gotta have people from both sides politicizing these tragedies to death rather than just addressing the meat of the matter. Here are the facts that we know. On the morning of March 27th, a person born Audrey Hale, who identified as trans and went by Aiden, broke into the Covenant School by shooting through a side door, went into the second floor, and opened fire. The 911 call was reported at 10:13 a.m. Police arrived 9 minutes later, and within 4 minutes of arrival, killed the creep at 10:27 a.m. You compare this to the Uvalde school shooting and the shit show police response from that event, and one must think, look, yeah, that's how police should get things done. I mean, the body cam footage of their police response is out there. I've even stumbled on it when scrolling through a meme app on my phone. These officers clearly were well-trained, competent, and put their lives in front of the kids who were still in the building. Unfortunately, as you see the officers close in on the perp, you do see them walk past the body of a dead child. 3 of the 6 victims were 9 years old. 9! On top of the 3 faculty members, why in the holy mother of fuck did 3 9-year-olds have to die? What did these people do to deserve being killed by a nutcase? As you can see in this text message, the shooter left this to a former teammate saying, oh, I plan to die. And that meant the creep was basically going to commit suicide by cop or doing a murder-suicide type of a thing. Deciding, rather than just taking his or her own life, they're just going to take out as many other people with them before they die. Thank goodness the police responded as efficiently as they did. Otherwise, there could have been more innocent lives lost. But as sick as this event has transpired, the response from people has been even more sickening. Oh, and how is our president doing when he's about to make a speech about the tragedy?
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
81 million votes, everyone. Good God, what is wrong with people? Many are saying that this is a political response to the Tennessee legislator that banned gender-affirming care for minors, you know, puberty blockers and all that shit, for minors, a law that was passed earlier this month. There was also stuff that restricted adult cabaret performances in front of public or in the presence of children. In other words, whether it's drag shows or burlesque parlors or exotic dancing or strip joints or whatever, keep it inside the venues that host it and keep the kids out of it. There's reasons why these venues have legal age limits. So because Tennessee voters decided that kids shouldn't be transitioning until they can make the choice as adults, and because Tennessee voters decided that drag shows shouldn't be held in front of kids, now kids have to die? Audrey/Aiden Hale was 28 and would be free to continue seeking treatment for transitioning. None of the legislator passed was going to affect how this person lived. Now, if the manifesto comes out and lists the recent legislator as a motive, I'll stand corrected, but as of right now, I think Hale, the shooter, was just a mentally ill person who decided to die and had the sick thought of taking children with him. But because of the crazy times we're living in, now we have people defending the child murderer? You have idiots that are outraged at the media misgendering the shooter, even though the text message clearly showed this person still went by either name? Oh yeah, the kids died, but how dare you misgender the shooter? You're a bigot for using the wrong name of the person. How dare you use their dead name? How dare you misgender them? Good God, you're a fucking moron if you think that. And then people saying that this shooter was a trans martyr? You have people mourning the death of a child killer, and they are the ones playing victims and making it a trans issue?
Police say identifies as transgender. That news has already prompted some attacks against the trans community.
I am concerned about how opposition and people who are anti-trans will try to spin this.
In the statement made by the Trans Resistance Network, they say that the incident had two tragedies. One being the shooting and the victims, and the other being the shooter's life being made difficult by anti-trans rhetoric. Oh no! Will someone think of the child murderer? And it says it here, hate has consequences.
What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Are you sniffing shit? Are you high? Are you on fucking crack? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Fucking shit, what's wrong with you?
Are they really claiming the murder of children is justified or a logical consequence of, quote, anti-trans bias in conservative Christian institutions? If they wanted to mitigate backlash, they should have just said, hey, the murderer may have identified as trans, but we disown them. Whether it's a white supremacist who shoots up a black supermarket, or an Islamic terror attack on an Orlando gay nightclub, or a transgender man shooting up a Christian elementary school, evil is evil. If an evil act is committed by someone you think upholds the same values and standards or whatever ideology you have, then you need to immediately come out and say, no, we disown this person who committed the act, and we'll do our part to show you this person doesn't represent us. This person doesn't represent our community. It doesn't matter what side that is, that needs to apply across the board. Anyone defending Adrian Audrey Hale in the slightest really needs to get their morals checked. Whether or not we will see Hale's manifesto released, what we know is that there is no good reason to shoot 6 innocent people. None of these victims created the grief that triggered Hale's suicidal rampage, but they still died for it. Their lives were cut short for possibly no real reason at all. The only thing to blame is not the Tennessee state legislation that was passed earlier in March, not the woke left ideology, not the based right mindset, not the politicians in office, not transgender people. The only thing to blame is Audrey/Aiden Hale himself. When it comes to my overall thoughts on this, okay, this is not a trans issue. This is once again a mental health issue. You could say that some transgender people are mentally ill, but that's not entirely true. Clinically, gender dysphoria is not a medical illness. I have Asperger's, which is considered part of the spectrum, but I'm not mentally ill. You know what is considered mental illness? Bipolar, anxiety, PTSD, clinical depression, etc. And sadly, there's a lot of people who don't know why they're experiencing those feelings. They don't know why they're depressed or bipolar, but they're quick to jump on medications and are told, well, you know, maybe you're experiencing all this because you're trans or because you're non-binary, or because you're this or that. And then you get them on this cocktail of drugs that just fuck up the mind. And that's where you probably get the suicide rate among transgenders. Sure, you have the advocates like the Trans Resistance Network and that statement saying that many transgender people experience the things that I listed prior, but so do non-transgender people. Anyone who is fucked up in the head is more susceptible to be radicalized and commit horrible acts on behalf of a said movement, or even just the movement that they've made up in their minds. Just take a pick on what you want to label as an example. We don't need to go over all of them. Maybe Aiden/Audrey committed these acts in response to the legislation, or perhaps it was simply because Hale was just a fucked up person. Anyone who is of sound in mind knows that fighting hate with more hate is not the justification. You cannot commit a violent act and then claim to be the victim if you're taking innocent people out in the process. I can agree that the shooter should not have been able to legally purchase firearms, as no mentally ill person should have their hands on them. But I also know that banning guns outright would not have stopped Hale from getting them. Here's the problem. Hale had 9 minutes at the school before cops arrived, and up to 4 more until the cops killed him. 6 died. Remember that Sandy Hook lasted 5 minutes, and you still had 26 people killed in that span of time before Adam Lanza shot himself. Why do these shooters go to these places? Because they know that schools are gun-free zones and know there will be a delayed response before the police arrive with guns to thwart it. So once again, arm the teachers and give them a fighting chance to defend the kids under their care, or provide trained armed security. But until the nationwide mental health issues get addressed, or until the teachers can be armed, or if you don't provide any armed protection for our schools, nothing is going to change. And this country will continue to do the same politicized bullshit as it always does, while expecting different results. The very definition of insanity. You agree with me or you disagree with me, I would love to hear all your comments. You want to talk to me directly, feel free to join the Discord server. The links are in the description below. I will also provide links to donate to the victims of the families. I'm Desert Coyote 22. Thanks for listening.